Tony D and Little Joan, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Predator Badlands, the new Predator movie about a predator and looks like an android teaming up in kind of a sci-fi buddy movie. I gotta say, I don't hate it. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys books 1 through 17, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Now, that being said, that I don't hate it, I don't really think it's a Predator movie. Not the kind I want to see, anyway. It would be a perfectly fine addendum to the world of the Predator and aliens if you just picked a different alien. You know, the alien in this one, or the predator in this one, talks to the android. I don't know. I've seen a lot of Predator movies. I've never seen that before. Not sure why he would. I also don't like the redesign too much. He's supposed to be a younger Predator, which is why he looks this way. This is cool, though. I do like the half of Android limping around. And that she's sort of no threat to him, so he doesn't kill her. But then later he teams up with her and he's dragging her half around on his back like C-3PO for some reason. I kind of don't see Predators doing that. Yeah. So the deal is he's on the world's most dangerous planet. He's supposed to kill something that can't be killed. This is November. Here he takes her back to the wreckage of the ship in order to figure some stuff out. Here he's using a drone or something. Here's his various trophies. And then she reveals to him that he's actually the prey. Oh no, the hunter has become the hunted. So some group of humans, I guess, are going to kill him. And then I think there's another predator. I'm not sure who he is. Maybe he's the shaman that sends him on his journey. So, I don't know. It's his first hunt, his last chance. Like, I guess he screwed up. One of the predators screwed up, and that's why he's been sent on this hunt that he can't finish. So I like that the odds are stacked against him. I'm not so sure the android girl won't be annoying, though. Yeah, I don't know where he is in this. He's on the most dangerous planet, and then somehow he ends up here. Maybe this is early in the movie. Maybe this is how he screws things up, and then ends up on this planet. I don't know. But she tells him he's become the hunted. He's become the prey to, I guess, the monster that's on the planet. He also has a weird laser bow. I don't know why they keep changing the weapons. Well, I do know why. It's subverting your expectations. It's injecting new stuff so they can make different toys, so that the creatives responsible can take credit. See, I created the laser bow. And again, this goes back to what I've said before about improv. Yes, and. Yes, and. This is, it's not just an improv thing, it's a creative thing. If you created the Predator and you were doing story after story about him, you wouldn't change the weapons this much. You just wouldn't. You might have some subtle changes here and there. Or if you did change the weapons, maybe you would establish that early on and then have a reason for all the change of weapons. A story reason. Like each predator, I don't know, makes his own weapons. Each predator from different tribes have different weapons. Like something like that. But seems to be no explanation. Yeah. I mean, part of the thing I think we wanted to learn about the predators, or the thing I wanted to learn, is how their damn society works. How they even got this technology. Because it seems like they're so busy killing and hunting, there's no predator scientists and pilots and, I don't know, food tasters. Like, there's nobody in predator society that can build this stuff. So how did they get it all? So that's something I would like to see explored. Like, if I wanted to see the origin of the predators, how they got to space. So the way I would probably envision it, there's a planet of predators, and they're roaming around with spears and whatnot, killing the aliens on their world and hunting, and there's a balance there. And then one day, big alien ship lands, and the aliens come out, and the predators kill them all. Or the aliens crash and they all die from Lord knows what. Maybe the things that the predator hunts, right? Like they land the ship and they don't know where they are, and then, whatever the predators hunt, bunch of crazy alien lions or something. They just attack the crew and kill them all before the predators even get there. And then the predators get there and they kill them. They kill the lions, the alien lions, because that's what they do. And then they're like, oh, look at all this stuff. Where did all this stuff come from? And so like a tribe of them go on the ship and figure out how to operate it, and they realize, hey, these weapons are pretty cool. Right? So they start using them. They figure out how to use them. And then they eventually figure out how to fly the ship. Maybe they just push a button and it takes them back to some alien planet where, it's like a way station for aliens. And there's a bunch of them there. All different races, and they all got technology and stuff. And the predators, at first they're like, holy crap. But then they figure out what the deal is. They talk to some of the aliens and they explain, okay, here's how, alien society works. And the predators are not killing them all, because it's like, well, they don't just kill people. You would set them up like indigenous tribesmen, right? They're respectful. They do what they do, but they're respectful. But then they realize, they do some trade. Maybe they have some resource on their planet that gets them, and then they start trading for technology left and right. And then they start hunting on other planets. And maybe at first they get screwed in a deal. Like, indigenous people sometimes get screwed. And then, they get mad. They get super mad. And they go to their planet. They go to the planet of the aliens that screwed them, and they, kill everybody. And then they get even more technology. So, we see the progression of how these guys get their technology. And then maybe on their planet, or maybe it's not their whole, maybe it's not their home world. Maybe it's like a moon, right? And it's got all this robots and technology and stuff. And it's got this big, manufacturing base that makes weapons for them. Like, they didn't build it, but the robot just, the computers just take instructions, and out pops the armor and all the cool stuff that the predators like to use. And, if you kept the same weapons, right? You kept the same weapons from the earlier movies, like the little disc things and the spears and the thing that the shoulder gun and whatever. You could then explain, like, maybe the Predators had primitive versions of those weapons, ones they actually built, and then they asked the computer to upgrade them. And now, they go around the galaxy hunting, and, not for nothing, maybe they got a bad deal, and that's why they're so mad, and that's why they don't care about other races. Like, they got screwed by the other races, nearly got killed, and that's why they're badass. Now they just show up to planets and kill everybody because screw you people. So that's why they show up on Earth and just start hunting. It would give us a bit of an explanation and a backstory that, would jibe with what's gone before. And maybe a reason why they don't, for instance, pick up the guns in some of the previous movies and go, oh, I'm going to use this gun now. Yeah, they keep using their other technology because, it was built for them and, it's more what they're used to. It's like they're going backwards here with the bow. So, that's what I would do. But, instead, what I think happens, they just get a guy in. Maybe some of the execs saw the previous movies, maybe not. And they just, well, this guy's right because he has enough movies under his belt, or the studio likes him. And they ask him to come up with a pitch. And he goes to his screenwriter, says, yeah, I need to come up with a pitch. And he throws him out some ideas. Screenwriter workshops it a little bit. They come back, and then the studio goes back and forth with them and goes, oh, yeah, we can make this work. We can market this. We have different toys now, and there's a different look, and this is our Predator in our era. And that's why, it gets away from the previous stuff. But the problem then is, if you're getting away from the previous stuff and you're doing a franchise, you've gotten away from the previous stuff to the point at which you're basically starting over. This is a different Predator, a completely different tone. This is a Predator that's actually interacting with the android and eventually teaming up with her. Like, if he never teamed up with the android, you'd be like, okay, I could see that. Predator, there's no Predator team-ups that I'm aware of, really. Maybe sort of a begrudging avoiding the humans in one of the Alien versus Predator movies, but although they did have respect for Danny Glover at the end of 2, which is one of my favorite movies, but not a ton of interaction, so you're kind of breaking new ground. But see, you change the look of the Predator. That's really going off the reservation, in my view. Should have kept that. I mean, it's not completely out of the realm of a Predator, I guess. He does look fairly similar. So one could argue, like, well, the Predator's, he is a Predator. He just has a slightly different look than some of the other Predators. And that's why he looks that way. But we're going to get more dialogue. Something else we never really got much of from the Predators. They were kind of this... And one of the reasons people like the Predator franchise is because we didn't know much about them. Right? That's the other thing. The cool part about them in the first 2 movies, and they're still the coolest movies, is we don't really know much about the Predators. We don't know where they're from, how they got all these weapons, all that kind of stuff. And that mystery gives them a mystique that we can fill in on our own, and that makes them exciting. Because then you kind of don't know what they're going to do. and they end up killing everybody, and it's like, oh man, he's not going to talk or anything. He's just going to keep killing people. And then when, like, he's finally defeated in both movies, you know, he axes himself, self-deletes in a spectacular way, which is another thing they ought to explore too. I mean, that's something I've been very curious about. Why do the predators do that? Why do they self-delete? Because it's part of their culture or whatever. Yeah, let's see it. Let's see why it's part of their culture a little bit, or hint at it at least. So, you know, so this is why we're not going to get, for instance, a movie that takes place in the world of Aliens and Predator, where there's a big war and the Predator shows up again and just starts killing people during the war, which is what I would want to see. That's the kind of movie I would want to see. Just incredible action, and the Predator is another problem, and the humans are the good guys, and they're trying to deal with the Predator while probably dealing with a war, or maybe an invasion of the aliens. Maybe that's another one too. You do not Aliens versus Predator, but you do a Predator movie that takes place during a time when a group of humans are fighting the aliens, and the Predators, they don't consider the aliens much of a threat. They kill a bunch of them. They get bored and they say, these humans seem like good hunting. Let's hunt them. Or you come up, God forbid, with some original aliens, throw them in the mix. I mean, there's a few in this film. That's what he's hunting, some giant, tiger, dinosaur, predator monster. But I think they need more aliens if you're going to expand the universe of the Predator, to explain why they have all this stuff. And you might argue, well, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You, on the one hand, you say it's their mystique that they're unexplained. On the other hand, you say you'd like to explain it. You have to pick one or the other. Either you explain more of the Predator, or you keep the mystique by putting him in other situations where, like in the original two movies, they just show up because there's a lot of fighting, and they find that good hunting amongst the humans, or whatever. I mean, if you're going to set it in the present day, which is in the Predator alien world in the far future for us, then you'd probably have to make up a conflict that makes some amount of sense. Maybe an alien, again, you don't have to use the aliens, but you could use an alien world. Maybe humans colonized it, and it's overdeveloped. It's like completely urbanized, and there's a lot of gang warfare. So you can go with the urban sort of take, or maybe it's the opposite. It's like the Wild West, but it's future Wild West, right? It's like the Great Frontier sort of planet. Yeah, there's a few alien, creatures, but mostly it's humans. They run the deal, and it's pretty badass. And then there's something going on in town, or in that city, or whatever it is, the colony, and then the Predators show up and start killing people. I think you need to do one or the other. Either explore, this is attempting to explore the world of the Predator. I think you have to go back to the well if you're going to do that. If you just do a sequel, like I'm saying, where the Predator drops into another hotspot and just goes hunting, you don't have to do that sort of exploring. You don't have to explain anything more about the Predator, and you can do more cool designs and crazy weapons. And the implication could be like, oh, he's got different markings. He's from some sort of different tribe. But in that case, I think the audience, if you're talking about fan service, they want a Predator that looks like the old Predators. At the very least, the makeup should have been the same. But I think it's Hollywood reasons why they changed it. So, first act, something I think happens with this Predator. He, I don't know, he breaks a rule, or maybe he gets somebody killed, and I don't know. I guess we're going to see a subtitled exchange where the shaman Predator, or the lead Predator, says, you've screwed up. Now we're going to send you to such and such planet where you have to hunt whatever he is, the big monster that nobody can kill. So it's kind of like a death sentence. So they send him there, and he's a Predator. He's like, okay, I'm going to die a glorious death. That's another thing, too. Like, what are the gods of the Predator? Seems like they would have gods, you know? Gods of the hunt, and gods of this, and gods of that. Anyhow, he goes to the planet, and he's got all his weapons, and he hunts, and he gets his butt kicked. But he survives. And then he runs into the half android. Maybe inadvertently sort of saves her because he disturbed the monster, and she gets away. And she offers to help him, but he doesn't want help at first. And she's cut in half, so she hops away on her hands. And she's trying to get back to the whatever wrecked ship she crashed in. Then for some reason, you know, he can't beat the monster, or I don't know, he needs more weapons, and he realizes the android can help him. So he goes back, and he, not out of any altruistic reasons, he gets the android because the android can help him. And I guess the android understands him. So he takes her back to her ship after a series of mini adventures, you know, monsters trying to kill them both. And she repairs herself so she can walk around. Got another, you know, waist or something. Another extra pair of legs. And he, I don't know, teams up with her to kill that monster. Or maybe she can't help him, but she gives him information that'll allow him to kill the big monster. And there's some other problem on the planet. I don't know if there's like an army of guys kind of after him. That might happen in a previous scene and not the planet he's stuck on. But the big monster is hunting him, and he, you know, kind of like, and this harkens back to the first movie, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the hunter, and then the Predator turns the tables on him, and then he turns the tables on the Predator. So in this one, the Predator is the hunter, and then the tables get turned on him, and then he turns them back on the monster. So, again, I don't hate it. It's just not the Predator movie I want. I kind of want, you know, the Danny Glover style Predator movie. I would have liked to have seen a group of Predators go to Earth for whatever reason, and touch down in the middle of a hot war. You know, whether it's the modern day, whether it's the past, whether it's the not too distant future, that's what I want to see. Would I see this? I'll wait for the nerd reactions to it. They haven't been good for the look of the Predator. But it might be okay. I think it might be okay. If it gets good reviews, maybe I'll go see it. I definitely would stream it unless I heard it's terrible. Unless I heard the android bosses them around, in which case I'll just be like, well, that's off my list. You know, I didn't see Prey, and that the guy who made Prey made this, I think. You know, it seemed like girl bossy Predator. So I stayed away from it. But I don't know. Maybe it's not too bad. So I'm a bit on the fence. I want it to be good. I really do. The last good Predator movie I saw was the Adrian Brody one. I thought that was okay. It wasn't great. It was all right. My favorite is still Predator 2. And yeah, I wish they would go back to that kind of dynamic. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, and the black site for more videos. I am making a lot of progress on book 18, so should be posting that tonight at the latest. So look for that, and you won't be able to shut me up about book 18. All right, hope to see you later. We'll see you in the next one.